There's an eternal war between writers and the audience. The writers are trying to stay ahead of the audience. The audience is trying to stay ahead of the writers. I've been on both sides of the war. When I was writing, of course, I was trying to fool the audience. Now that I'm a viewer, although I'm only a viewer, I'm trying to outsmart the writers. Probably sometimes to my detriment. My Scream 4, 5, I guess I'm Scream 5. My Scream 5 reaction was like probably an hour longer than it needed to be because I kept trying to be a detective. I was trying to be a junior detective, and I couldn't solve the crime. I came close, but I couldn't solve the crime. I was trying to win the war against the writers. The writers won the war against me. The writers should win because they have so many tools at their disposal. Plus, they have so much time. We only have the amount of time that the show transpires. They have days, months, maybe even years to figure out how to fool the audience. Now, not all stories about fooling people. Sometimes you can present things straight up and it's just paid by numbers and it can be a good story. That's fine. But even comedy, think about it. Comedy comes from surprise. If you surprise somebody, you think that you think that the fat person is talking when he goes into a bar with a parrot on his shoulder, but it turns out the parrot's the one talking, or the bartender was talking to the parrot, not to the fat person. Like, it's surprise. They take your expectations and they flip it on its head, and that's why you laugh. Warfare. The writer's trying to win the war against the audience. But besides all the tools in the writer's disposal, the audience also has another major problem that they're dealing with, and that's cognitive bias. I was just watching a video talking about why Breaking Bad fooled us, like how it fooled us. And they use a cognitive bias thing called the big ask. And that's where, when you're negotiating with somebody, you ask for something completely ridiculous first that you know you'll never get and you couldn't possibly ever get. And when they turn that down, then you ask for something almost as ridiculous, but a little bit more reasonable. And when a person compares the two, like, well, they asked for $6 million. Now they're only asking for $1 million. Well, $1 million is ridiculous. You're trying to sell an old baseball card that's worth $500,000. You're trying to get $1 million for something that's worth $500,000. But the only reason that if you just said, "Hey, I want $1 million," they say that's ridiculous. We'll pay you $500,000. What it's actually worth. But if you ask for $6 million first, and then you lower from 6 to 1, all of a sudden you seem super reasonable. So then they pay you twice what it's worth because you asked for $6 million first. Cognitive bias, the big ask. That's how Breaking Bad fooled us. Like they take an actor who is like a complete loser on Malcolm in the Middle, bring him over here, present him as basically the same character. So that's what we're expecting. So we never see it coming. And that's kind of the way Walter White was all the time. We don't see that coming. A different actor in that spot, we'd be a hell of a lot more suspicious. We wouldn't have been so easily fooled. We wouldn't, almost till the end of the series, think that he's a good guy. The only reason we think he's a good guy almost till the end, everybody had their own personal breaking point. For me, it was the end of season 2. If you know, you know, right? But everybody has their own personal breaking point. But how much sooner would that breaking point have happened if it hadn't been Bryan Cranston in the role who had just done Michael in the Middle? See, the big ask, the bait and switch. Bait and switch is another one. Being slippery with certain words that can mean multiple things is another one. Wake has a lot of different meanings. It could be a wake. Let's go to a wake. We held a wake for my dad. But also, wake somebody up, right? It can mean different things. Neil Gaiman used that against us at the end of Sandman. All the different meanings of the word wake. It just fit perfectly with the story he was telling. If an anonymous person on the internet has the name Taylor, well, Taylor can be a male name or a female name. Or maybe they're even non-binary. Who knows, right? That's why I try not to gender people I've never met on the internet. Because you just don't know. You can use your cognitive bias. If I have a friend who's only ever known men with the name Taylor. Taylor Lautner from the Twilight series, whatever his name is. Personally, when I grew up, I only knew women with the name Taylor. Tracy's another one. Tracy can mean both, right? So you just never know, right? So, I actively try to work against all my cognitive biases, and we all have them. I grew up, the only people who had the name Tracy were women, and if somebody sends me an email and their name is Tracy, I'm going to assume woman even though it could easily be a man, right? Cognitive bias, the big ask. I think that pertains to this series in a lot of ways. But most importantly, I think that this author spends a lot of time on their character introductions. They put a lot of thought into it, how they introduce characters, what the character looks like when they first introduce them. I think the author spends a lot of time on it. I think that it's clear that he's doing it as a big ass type scenario. You introduce Sanji as basically a complete psychopath. But maybe he's not a complete psychopath. That's how you introduce him. You introduce him while you're like, he's literally trying to murder somebody in cold blood over essentially nothing. But maybe that's the worst day. Maybe he has a reason. Maybe he's being pushed all along. Like, it seems like a very chaotic, ridiculous environment he was working in, right? Usopp was introduced as basically a complete loser and a pathological liar. Well, he's a lot more than that. But he was introduced that way specifically to a purpose, I believe. Everything I've heard about this author, he will introduce things and concepts and themes and characters and place names and settings 500 episodes before he actually brings it into the story where it's actually crucial to the story. He thinks ahead. He lays things in. Now, he may be doing the Charles Dickens thing. Charles Dickens, when he wrote novels, he had to write it on monthly installments, right? So Great Expectations was written over a period of a year, and 1/12 of it, I don't remember the specific numbers. It could be like 14 or it could be 18, who knows? But like, let's just say it was 12 chapters, right? Every month, he would submit that month's, say in January, he would submit February's chapter. Like, he had to do it by January 20th, let's say. He'd be writing until January 19th, the night of January 19th, turn those pages into the publisher on the 20th. And then it would, on February 1st, it would be in the magazine or the newspaper or whatever it was. And people would read that installment. And then February 19th, that night, he would finish that chapter, turn it in on the February 20th, and then, it would run on March 1st, right? That's how he wrote the novel Great Expectations, and I think a couple of other novels as well. It was serialized. So he hadn't written the entire novel when he submitted the first chapter. He'd maybe had an idea of what the fourth and fifth chapters were going to be, and maybe he'd written a little bit of the second chapter. He started writing the second chapter. Like, he thought it was going to be part of the first chapter. He's let me just break it off here, and that'll be part of the second chapter. He hadn't written very far ahead. So if a character shows up in chapter 10 and they play a crucial role, that it looks like you pulled this story out of your ass, which is what you did, because he's trying to make money every month. Like, he's broke. He's hand to mouth. He's kind of like me. And the Patreon money comes in, I get to eat again, right? That's the kind of situation he's in. He doesn't have time to sit there and write an entire novel before he tries to sell it. He's selling it chapter to chapter, week to week, month to month. So if he gets to chapter 10 and realizes he needed another character to pull this person out of the fire and save their ass, well, he's screwed if he hasn't introduced the character until that chapter. So what did Charles Dickens do? You can see it when you read his writing, right? What he did was he would bring in a character for one page in the early chapters. And then sometimes those characters would never come back. And it'd be like, well, what the hell was this? And as a matter of fact, sometimes there's a difference between a serialized version and later it was collected into an actual novel and he made some editorial decisions. You can see some of his characters disappear, right? But it'd be like, wait a minute, we get to the end of the story. Well, Captain John Smith never came back. He showed up for one page. He looked pretty awesome, and he never came back because they never actually got to the port. Early on, they were talking about getting to the port. Well, they never got to the port. If they got into the port, you'd have a captain we already knew about that was introduced who could then, you can get on a ship and you can go away. But the story went a different direction. So we never see the captain again. But Lady Margarine, who was in there for 2 pages in chapter 2, she comes back in chapter 11. She's like, hey, man, thanks for buying me lunch in chapter 2. Here's what you need to win the plot, right? He would do this. He would bring up characters for a page or two, and then they would F off. And then he may or may not bring them back because he was writing the story as it came along. He was not writing an entire novel. If you write an entire novel, you get to chapter 25, and you realize you needed that character in chapter 2, you go back to chapter 2 and you rewrite it and you put that character in there. And it looks like you're a genius. It looks like you planned it all along. No, you got to the end of the story, realized you need somebody else, you went back and you did that. Charles Dickens did not have that luxury. The writer of this does not have that luxury. So I think some of what people are talking about, where you have a character in episode 10 who shows up in episode 558, he wasn't necessarily thinking 448 chapters ahead. Probably some of this is he was seeding things in there. I'll use this later at some point. I'm going to be writing 5,000 chapters. I'll use it later at some point. He doesn't even have to worry about the Charles Dickens thing where they never come back. He's got enough chapters. They're going to come back. So, but I don't think he necessarily had in mind, what am I going to do with this person here? What am I going to do with this person here? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I'm thinking he's probably doing more the Charles Dickens thing. I'll need this person later. The one thing that goes against what I just said is I do believe he puts thought into how he introduces characters. So he'll introduce in a very specific way, and when they do come back, it may be subverted, it may be different. They come back in a very different way than they did before. But I don't think that. I think he has an idea of who the character is and who they can be and what their backstory is when he introduces them. He may not know how they're going to work in the plot and interactions with the characters. I don't think he thinks that far ahead, but I do think he thinks about who that character is. I wonder if he's a meticulous note taker, if he keeps it all in his head. I'm somebody who keeps it in my head. Very dangerous for somebody with my memory, but I do. But I wonder if he's a meticulous note taker. Let me know. I'm curious about that. Like, obviously I don't want spoilers, but sometimes I'll have specific questions. Does he have like a room that just has the bulletin boards all the way on all four walls, and he's got drawings, and he's got string going between him, and newspaper clippings, and photographs, and handwritten notes with by felt marker and stuff? Does he have that, or does he have like a laptop these days? I actually interacted with a writer on Twitter one time where I talked about the fact that like nobody has those. They call it a wall of crazy. Nobody has a wall of crazy anymore because now you can just do it on your laptop. It can even be multimedia on your laptop. And the writer, I was live tweeting some show, and the writer actually answered me, and he says, "Yeah, well, that's not cinematic. The laptop isn't." True, that's very true, but it's still not realistic. Anyway, I'm kind of wandering all over the place. Let me just wrap this up by saying that I'm going to start paying more attention to how he introduces characters, because I think we can divine some things there and almost like take the opposite of what we think it is. If they're introduced as a badass, maybe they're not. Maybe they're a sweetheart. If they're introduced as weak, maybe they're not. Maybe they have tin foil underneath, right? That's a Stephen King analogy. He said this person, they look weak. It's like having a piece of cake with tinfoil in the middle of it. They look weak. You bite into it, but you cannot pull that bite of the cake out of the cake because you hit that tinfoil. Tinfoil is thin. It's small. It's relatively weak, but you cannot puncture it with your teeth. So it's like they have a thin ribbon of tinfoil in the middle of them. They look weak. You can punish them. You can damage them, but you cannot sink your teeth into them because they have that tinfoil in the middle. That's who I think Usopp is. But anyway, let's go and get into this. This is episode 22. And you know the drill. We're going on one. 3, 2, 1. That's right. Catch this all. He just got murdered. See, that's how this character was introduced. He was introduced by murdering somebody, but then he seems pretty cool after that, right? You gotta watch this, dude. You got stomped out. I like your berry necklace. Or earrings, I mean. Yeah, I guess it's rice with spices in it, maybe. It's hard to tell. Why's it gotta be a geezer? Excellent, you're dismissed. I should stop looking at the titles, right? There's spoilers in the titles. I told you I'm obsessed with the way the voice actor, the tone of voice they use when they read the title. But I need to stop looking at it. Flare your nostrils, huh? Oh, he's not even a good cook. Well, that's not good. You're fired. Man, these cooks are all a-holes. Well, you're supposed to be friends with everybody? So you're letting Luffy go, is that what you're saying? Luffy's pretty terrible at being a chore boy, so. Hey, man, he said you're a terrible cook. I kind of trust his judgment here. Yeah, what are you going to do about it? I think that this cook can fight. He seems to have hands. He will stomp you out. Hey, Usopp, he saved his food, man. That's very smart. That's what you should do. This is a battle of wills. I can see that already. So how do people just refuse being fired? I wish I had that power. Yeah, I'm going full vampire teeth. What is in that cup? What is that, candy or something? Ice cream? No, he doesn't want to screw you. Yeah, really? Long nose, that's what we're doing? Damn, you gonna body shame him? I don't think you can fight, Usopp. What the hell is going on? Every conversation in this episode has been ridiculous. She knows how to play him. Look at her. He's eating out of her hand. She's gonna suck him dry, not in the way he wants. Trust me. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we're all still working here, apparently. Wait, I just realized the restaurant has a fish head. That's very on point, actually. So I guess there's going to be a pirate attack that'll probably destroy the restaurant. 4 days. Thank you for letting us know that. Like, I knew it was 4 days. I don't know why you had to say that out loud, but okay. Yeah. This is ridiculous. What are we sitting around for? Well, free food. Okay, that's why we're sitting around here. Yeah. Are you carrying trash? Why'd that just leave, man? I guess it's by dishonor, isn't it? What? Oh, he senses a pirate ship. By the way, this is going a little bit back. I like how Zoro, he's just kind of chilling. All three of his swords are lined up, standing up, rather. I just like that. Uh oh. We're just trying to have a meal here. By the way, are these people just hanging out at this restaurant or are they going back and forth? Because there seems to be a lot of customers. But we only saw two boats docked at the port. So how are they getting in and out, right? Some people may be living here for a while until another passenger boat goes by, is what I'm thinking. I like that flag. Yep. Don Krieger, Craig. Kriega? Don Kriega, okay. Let's get the hell out of here. Cook's ready to fight. I like his mustache, looks like a rope. Very nice design. Damn, that ship's big. Jesus. The scale of this is unbelievable because the restaurant looks pretty damn big. Yeah, what are you going to do about it, Patty? Yes. You shouldn't have been talking shit. Too late to run. Zoro's ready to fight. Nami's a huge chicken, and Usopp's kind of somewhere in between. Man, I love the aesthetic. It's almost like the Flying Dutchman. Yeah, it is huge. Yeah, he will repay you, all right. Yeah. My God, that's a huge ship. Now, see, that is a figurehead. His hat's almost as tall as his ship. No, I take it back. Damn. They keep getting in fights. That's why they beat up. It's almost like it was attacked by uh, yeah, like a sea serpent or something. A sea monster. Well, too bad we can't stay. We'll pay the check next time we show up if you're still around. Look at Patty up there. Yeah, I like the whimpering. The whimpering was working for me. You better whimper. Fee fi fo fum. Has he got three legs? Or is there somebody behind him? It's hard to tell in this show. Okay, that's his minion. Yep. How's this introduction for you? Oh, yep. They're messed up, man. They just got attacked by a sea monster or something. And they're all hungry and stuff. See, we're expecting a fight, right? Like I told you, man. The big ass. They just got me. Boy, they love to subvert expectation on the show. I love it. Just feed me, but well, I almost said a really bad word. Yeah, being hungry is not a character trait. Wow, damn. I wonder if the rest of the crew is dead too. Hey, man, they're coming for help, and now they don't care. Look at him. He should have came in like a badass then. Damn, you people suck. They're the elite. I'd get it. Rich enough to come out here in the middle of the ocean to eat a meal. Look, he may have done really horrible things, so maybe that's why they're acting this way. I don't have that context. To me, it seems like they're dicks. Wow. Y'all some a-holes. Maybe he'll be grateful, a-hole. But yeah, again, though, like counterpoint, maybe he's done some really horrible things. It sounds like he has. Wow. Well, you reap what you sow, right? Don't be a jerk for 20 years and maybe people won't treat you like this. Man, this is heartbreaking. I don't have sympathy for him, but I do have empathy for him. There's a difference. Dude, I'm hungry. Damn, they're killing me. Hey, man, he can pay with this chain. Look at that. That chain's got to be worth a couple meals, right? Man, this dude really is a jerk. Damn. Well, like I said, you reap what you sow. Yeah. That's right. He always feeds the hungry. Everybody else better get out of my way. Interesting. Well, obviously rice. I was trying to see what else. Maybe some pork is in there. Vegetables, yeah, all right. Good stuff. Hey, man, no soy sauce? What are you going to do about it? Like I said, though, he could be a monster for all I know. He probably is. He's done horrible things. Here we go. Get his backstory. I'm with you so far. Look at him laughing. He was laughing when he killed that dude. That's not nice. Okay, that's not good. This doesn't feel like a trip, but this does feel like comeuppance. So, right. Luffy don't like that, does he? Treating him mean isn't going to help him, like, not kill you. Yeah. Well, I guess everybody was right. I guess they were right. See, my empathy is going to get me killed one day. I wish I could see how much he's worth. That hurt. Damn. Next time, bring soy sauce. The cigarette flying past is awesome. Maybe that's you. God, I wish I could pause it. Maybe that is so that everybody won't blame him for feeding him. So it'll look like he got what was coming to him. Then again, maybe he's just an a hole. I can't believe this, man. Jesus, man. I literally can't believe this. Man, what an a hole. I know I'm repeating myself, but damn, man. Like, I just don't understand. Like, why would you do that? Like, he just. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going to knock your bravery down at the end of this week. I don't do bravery, but, man, this blew my mind. I just cannot believe this. I can't believe the a-holes are right. Like, they took pleasure in being right, which made me annoyed, which is why I didn't take their side. Like, it's just. I don't know, man. Wow. Dude, you suck. He got smashed. So did Patty. Yeah, now, well, I thought you were being all mean a minute ago. See, like, them being mean just annoyed me. Even though they were right, they were wrong because they were being a-holes. So what attacked him? It must be a sea monster, right? He already broke your arm, dude. You may want to shut up. Right. Look at them. They're just chilling. Damn, this thing got trashed. Look at this. Jesus. It shouldn't be funny. He's literally dying of thirst, but somehow that was funny. Well, he's got some guts. I like it. I'm not placing an order. I'm giving you orders. I like that. That's a good turn of phrase. Don't make me pull out my crazy eyes. Apparently, he's part steam. Maybe he's a Titan. Dude, you had to know your captain. He knew him better than me. He is a son of a bitch. So am I. I would have done the same thing. I won't trust again. This show has hurt me. Play to my sympathies. This actually pisses me off. Take care of this, Sanji. This is how they endear us to his character, by the way. Oh, you're gonna submit, huh? Well, do you want to die? Like, apparently this guy's gonna kick your ass and kill you, right? What? You have large forks all of a sudden? Like, when would you need a pitchfork on this ship? So you're gonna attack him, but the captain here, who's about to kill all of you, he's over there, and you have no weapons pointed at him. You guys are idiots. I also like the large spoons, by the way. I know they're pans, but he is incorrigible. But I have some more choice words for him I don't want to say on this channel. You can't let somebody starve to death. I'm with that. Yeah, it makes my little head hurt. Like, I wouldn't let anybody starve to death. Like, anybody. I don't care who it is. After that, if you have to take care of business, you take care of business. You feed them and they attack you, maybe you have to kill them in self-defense. But until then, you got to feed them first. Like, that's just how I roll, man. Damn. I guess he got it back. I like Patty. Even though he was a jerk and he was taking pleasure in denying the captain, but you know. That's another good line. I am the captain now. He's about to stomp you out, dude. Of course, you realize this means war. He's about to pull out a pistol, ain't he? Dessert. I guess he's got a pistol. Or is it a flamethrower? Meatball of doom. That doesn't look meat. Hey, man. I guess I solved the problem, huh? This guy's very conflicted. Wants to save his life, then his boss does a heel turn, but now cares whether he dies. He's okay, I guess. I expect him to step out of the smoke any second. Wow, dude. I like Patty, but man, he is dark. Dude. Yeah. He took your meatball of doom. Yeah, you better be scared. Yeah. That's almost like tapioca pudding. It's even nastier than that. And there's no such thing. Yeah, you better be scared. Like I said, everybody in the show's a coward. So it's mass murder, is it? Jesus. This answers the questions I had about gun technology I hadn't had a chance to ask. They do have guns. Well, they have cannons, so I guess of course they would have guns, right? Guns are just smaller cannons. Ah, that's another brass knuckle, but better. When did he become Thanos? Look at him. He's got that Thanos armor. Woot steel, huh? Hey, I'm convinced. Let's feed the man and his people. Did he kill him or what? Like, he's almost like Iron Man. Like if you took Iron Man and Thanos and combined them, right? Yep, he seems pretty serious about this. See the vein in his forehead? What is that, food or treasure? Take it and leave. What about water? Like I said, he's so detached. When I say he's detached, that's exactly what I mean right there. Look at everything going on, and all he cares about is like you hit me in the head with that bag. I didn't catch that last line. Let's see what he said here. Is that a name? Like, what's that about? I don't know what that means. Maybe he recognizes somebody. It's weird. Okay. Well, I had a long intro, so we'll leave it here. But I'll have more to say next episode.